morning. Hello, what is up? Welcome to episode 4.4 of 8 Bits. I'm djWHEAT, joined as always by itmeJP and Jeff Green. Gentlemen, we offset our day a little bit because JP needed to get in at least.
Was that really my fault?
No.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right. You started off, and I got a little offended.
It's going to be good. It's because, we wanted to give you the most comprehensive evaluation of ArcAge as we possibly could. So JP was like, you know what, fellas? I'll put the 20 hours in that we need in order to speak properly about this game. So, yeah,
he did that for us.
He did that. Yeah, absolutely.
You're the hero we need, JP.
See, JP? See what I did there? That was nice.
There you go.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Welcome. Saturday edition of 8 Bits.
It's Saturday somehow.
It's Saturday at 10 a.m., so I'm not really awake.
Yeah,
I think you guys got a couple hours on me, right?
I did get a couple hours. I woke up this morning, and I'll just jump right into it. Woke up this morning, did that like Saturday morning web browse session where you really, you're like, I have 1,000 other things I could do, but like, fuck me if Reddit isn't so amazing right now. Yep. And then, guys, I have had the buy page for RimWorld open for like 4 days.
Okay.
And I've seen Carnage play it. I thought he was playing some Prison Architect mod sometime.
Yeah, he plays a lot of that.
Yeah, I didn't really even care all that much. And then once I found out, okay, no, there's like a post-apocalyptic one, and then you have to like, they throw these scenarios in, and I got really intrigued, and I finally at like 11:19 this morning, so about 40 minutes ago, I finally hit the button. And I just spent 20 minutes, and I'll be damned if I didn't even want to come on the show. I was like, God damn, I'm playing this the most.
What is that? Because it looks like a prison simulator.
Dude, it's so the difference between PA and Dwarf Fortress and this one is that imagine like your ship in space blows up, and you with 3 other people escape in these little pods, and you land on a planet, and it's like, boom, have fun. Like, recolonize yourself or just, survive. So you start off and you have to collect all the shit that came from your pods and stuff, and then you have to start gathering wood and resources and maintain power. But then what's happening is the game is sort of, and there's like 3 different levels of storytelling that you can give the game. There's basically, they tout a storytelling AI. And so I chose just the basic one to start, and I'm going to start over later on today. But it will introduce elements to the game that will help you like learn the game, or there's a challenging mode where it will just introduce like a group of raiders comes around, and they're like, we want all your shit, So you have to deal with that, and your colony grows. I mean, it's exactly sort of my type of game. I mean, Prison Architect I liked, but I immediately the fact that they're like, it's post-apocalyptic survival, that's what hooked me in finally. And I have to say I spent only 20 minutes with it, but it was such a great 20 minutes, and I can't wait to go back to it.
I'm a little afraid to Google RimWorld.
I think it's RimWorld game.
Okay.
I wonder how much thought they put into that, into naming a game. Because or I mean, maybe they have like advertising on those sites, and that's how the game's getting popular, right? Is they advertise RimWorld on,
I don't know,
rimjobs.world.co or something like that.
That's some nice cross marketing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'll do RimWorld game. Yeah. Is it one word at least?
It's one word.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
That probably helps.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know why I also got the name and game pack because I couldn't pass that up for 10 extra bucks. Like the
name and
that
game?
I am. Yeah, basically, you can buy the game for 30, and then you can buy the game for 40, and they'll put your name into the game. So basically, there's a whole table of like randomized, so all of a sudden the djWHEAT bandit might come in and try to kill me or whatever. And then they
That's
have
pretty
a 125, which is you can like create a whole backstory for a character that you can potentially choose in the game. Smart. It's smart of them.
Oh, it's Mac and Linux too. That's kind of nice. Or Linux.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll probably be playing it later. It's definitely interesting. There's a little bit of management, a little bit of tactics.
Co plays that game like nonstop. Like that's his go-to game right now when he goes when there's like nothing to play, right? Or when he's waiting for Arcade to log in. I think he's just playing RimWorld.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've never understood what the hell it is.
It's I didn't either. And finally I'm like that guy in chat. Guys, what game is he playing? And at first I thought they said GrimWorld. So I'm like, this fucking game doesn't exist, man. Like, I don't know what's going on. But it's RimWorld. And I believe that Alpha 6 is apparently like a big step forward for the game. So it is an alpha. I don't want to sell something that, it may never get released, guys. May never. But these guys are releasing at least an update every month. So pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
Cool.
Anyway, I guess I kind of just started the show a little bit.
No, I've never heard of that game, and I'm very interested.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, I've heard of that game, but I had no idea what the hell it was. Right? That's what it.
How substantial are these monthly updates? I mean, are they?
I mean, actually, let me bring this back up because I think I was looking at the dev blog maybe where they show the So here's just the Alpha 6 improvements. They actually made it complete. You can seed, you can generate all the worlds, where before I think they were just set before. They added new biomes. They they added a medical system. Pain level is tracked. Doctors and medicine now have a purpose. Delicate body parts like brains or eyes usually end up with permanent damage when harmed. Like this is EMP weapons added. Yeah.
Huh.
So a whole lot more new content than Titanfall.
Oh shit! Shots fired.
Yes.
Oh, I kid.
Yes.
I kid because I love.
Do you though? Do you, kid?
I don't know.
I don't either.
What do you think the server population of that game is these days?
A Titanfall?
Titanfall?
Yeah. Like I
don't know.
Do you think it's
5
digits? 5,000.
I meant 5 people. No, it's probably.
Yeah.
It's probably still a lot of people. I mean, I thought that game was great. I mean,
I did
honestly,
too. I thought it was good.
It was super fun to play. There just was not enough content.
Exactly.
I mean, so hopefully, like, I'm not giving up on it. I'm hoping there's going to be some awesome DLC or content patches because the fundamental gameplay to me was fucking great. I thought.
Yeah, same here. I guess if I had to critique it, like, and I guess we could just jump into talking about Destiny from here. Like, it has one half of Destiny. Like, Titanfall is one half of Destiny with the PvP in it, in my opinion. And so, like, when you compare it to Destiny, and Destiny doesn't have anything to do with endgame, right? Like, it's the same fucking 3 things over and over right now. But they've already said that they're going to, like, add in a bunch of shit. So, but Titanfall's been saying that for how long, right? Like,
Titanfall seems like years ago. I mean, honestly, it
started at the beginning of the quote-unquote generation or whatever, didn't it? Like, that was the first big game out.
JP, this is why I'm totally numb to Evolve.
Because you think it's just going to be the same shit?
I feel like it's the same hype level. I feel like it's the exact same thing. And then it's just, bam, a repeat of it.
Boy, you're so right about that. I hadn't really thought about that. But the truth is, if you've been going to the cons, they're doing the same thing over and over now without really showing anything new. I mean, maybe I'm overstating that. Maybe they've shown stuff new because I'm only watching from the giant monitors from afar.
Sure.
And it just looks like, okay, is there going to be more to this than what they keep showing over and over? Because that is kind of what happened with Titanfall and now Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, it packs from what I know, what I played was the same thing that was at PAX East and was the same thing that was at E3. So, or I guess PAX East and then E3.
What's sad is that we are now getting cynical about that stuff. I want to be hyped for Evolve. But like I think we're all learning a little bit to like maybe temper our expectations a little and not set ourselves up for disappointment.
Yeah, Titanfall was March 11th for those in chat.
That's crazy. That's not even that long.
That actually is kind of, damn.
Yeah.
To
6
me,
months.
yeah, I wish, because I really did like that game. I think my enthusiasm for that was higher than it was in my first 20 hours of Destiny, let's say, because I just loved the shooting mechanic. I loved the Titans so much. And they just so did not keep the momentum going. Like, I think it would be a totally different experience right now, or we'd have different feelings if there had been a bunch of updates and challenges and content patches. You know, that game could still be pretty vibrant right now.
Yeah.
And they could get it back, too, I think. I think they could win us all back.
It would have to be some.
It would have to be something pretty big, right?
Yeah, I really do think.
Like this industry is so, and especially right now, I guess this has kind of been talked to death in the past by others. I don't know if we've ever discussed it, but like the hype right now, like the word hype or hype leading into a game is crazy because of this, like this, I think of it as like bees swarming around a nest, right? And we fucking move from nest to nest every single game. And no game can ever, because people put like these games as the next big thing. They put it on the level of like a World of Warcraft or a Minecraft, right? Like these two games that have been probably some of the most important games in the past 10, 15 years. And it's going to be like those games are very few and far between. We had a fucking amazing, like 10 years prior to all of these PS4 and Xbox One games.
Yeah.
So like, I guess everyone's hoping for that one game that is the next WoW or the next Minecraft, right? And like Destiny kind of looked like it was going to be that. It's not on any level. It's not a bad game, but it's not like that level of game, right? And I don't know what that level of game is. Like they're going to have to do some crazy shit to do something quote unquote like revolutionary, or I guess Hearthstone might be something along those lines where it was like such a big deal and it still is, right?
I would definitely say that game to me is like a revolutionary game.
It is, yeah.
They took something. So. They took something that I mean, how many years have trading card games been? I mean, big in their own right, but the fact that that fusion was just made, and whether you were a gamer or you were a trading card gamer, you played that game or have played that game or will play that game. I think that they will set the path. I mean, for example, like Pokemon's got their client coming out, and their online client's already pretty solid. It's not quite have the same charm as the Hearthstone does, but I think people just want the digital ability to do it at all. So
yeah, and I think Hearthstone was a milestone too, just in that you had a company as big and as popular and as good at what they do as Blizzard make a game like this.
And they took a huge risk, too.
They did take a huge risk, right. And I think they just raised the bar for all games like this. And I think they also really showed, like, how free-to-play can really work in a good way.
Yeah.
How mobile games can really work in a good way. I mean, imagine if, like, this came out before fucking Clash of Clans or Candy Crush. I mean, like, what if this came out at the beginning of when people got free-to-play games? Like, then you would have a different standard for what a success could be in this genre, rather than these million fucking copycats of of gouging consumers with bullshit.
You might,
So,
well,
or not.
I think we're going to talk more about Destiny before we go into our now playing. Like, can we do our other shit? Because there's definitely something I have to tell the world about. I've talked about this comic here. But Comixology, and you responded to me this morning, Jeff. This is such a great deal. But one of my favorite. I mean, I credit this guy for really getting me into this style of comic. But David Latham, this is the omnibus. But you basically can buy this for $39 digitally. It's the whole bundle, and. So Stray Bullets came out around like the popularity days of Quentin Tarantino when like Pulp Fiction was released, and Reservoir Dogs and True Romance, and that it's basically that like kind of dialogue and style of movie and character development that Stray Bullets has. It is fantastic. I mean, Jeff, you've read it. If you want to throw on any words,
I back you 100% on that. That book is amazing, and actually, I had the same experience. Really, I mean, that was also what got me into different kind of comics. And the thing about Stray Bullets is it's really like a grown-up, like violence, but not just, I don't mean like superhero violence. It's like emotionally violent. Like there's fucked up characters. It's like it's a book about lowlifes doing bad things to each other, and a lot of innocent people getting hurt along the way. It's a really, you know. And that said, it's like super entertaining too. I mean, it's like the comic book equivalent of like a, I don't know, like a Breaking Bad or a Sopranos.
It really is. That's it. Or like a Pulp Fiction. It has, you know, a lot of stories are intertwined. The character development's fantastic. Like it's, you know, something that happens in issue 1 will have an effect on like something in 23 later on. It's just he takes you for an amazing ride. And this was he self-published all this shit, and now he is, you know, he does Marvel stuff. He does Vertigo stuff. He's doing a lot of his own lines. Like he is doing Ferals. He restarted. I think Killers is under it. Well, it says El Captain, but
yeah, that's right. I think that's 7 issues in. So Stray Bullets vanished for years and years and years. He just like stopped, and then like all of a sudden out of the blue, I don't even know how many years the gap was. It was like at least a decade.
It was almost 10 years, and then boom, he like finishes it.
Yeah, he just came back.
It was 1 issue. Like, no shit, 1 issue he had to do.
Finished
you can see, it's actually right here, 41. It's got the Image logo on it. And it was everything prior to that, he had self-published. And then 10 years later, boom, completes
Finally
the story
finished it.
and starts a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's only 7, or I guess what? Yeah, 7 issues into Stray Bullets Killer. So you can actually jump aboard now because he relaunched it, essentially. Yeah, but one thing you said earlier, Weed, is like totally true. Like, it's not just that the story is awesome and the character is awesome, but the way he tells it. I think Pulp Fiction was a great analogy, because what he'll do is like 1 issue will take place in like 1975, and then the next issue will take place in 1982 or 86 or something. And it's like sort of a different set of characters, but maybe one of those guys from 75 shows up. And like you really have to read a whole bunch of issues to get how all the puzzle pieces fit together. And the more it does, like kind of the more profound the whole thing is. And you're just like, oh fuck, he like created a whole universe of lowlifes and made it sprawl over like 20 years. It's just really a great book. Great book. Yeah.
Yep. So I had to throw that out there.
I had to get as effusive as you because I love that book.
Yeah, it's
you guys, I have like this crazy backlog because you two assholes. Like, you guys hype books the way that I hype games. I think to you guys. Now I know what it feels like.
Yeah,
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just add it. I'll add it to the list.
My other media consumption is like I haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited because the final season of Sons of Anarchy started. I don't know if you guys watched that.
How many times is Jax gonna like have to go crazy?
Yeah.
What, season 7 now? What are they in?
It's 7. Yeah, it's the last one, and some crazy shit happened at the end of 6. So I'm pretty excited to see what the hell they're gonna do.
You haven't watched the season premiere yet?
No, I haven't. Have you?
I watched it last night.
Okay.
Guess what? There's some violence in it.
I would imagine, dude. After 6 ends, I just have to think they're gonna go out with a bang. So.
I almost felt done.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm of course I'm gonna watch it because I watched all the seasons. I'm gonna watch this, but part of me was like, man, I don't want to spoil it, but like, who's left alive that I care about at this point? Not many people. I don't want to say any more than that, but this show has killed off a lot of people.
They have.
I think I stopped watching maybe when that started happening. I don't know. But I watched like season 5 and it's that show. It's kind of like the Breaking Bad, right? But the escalation never stops. They never like hit a wall. And it like I would binge watch like 12 episodes or something like that. And I'd be like, I have to go like get some coffee and like smoke a cigarette because that was like that was just stupid. Like the intensity of that and especially a lot of stuff that happens to the character that starts with G in the middle of like the show.
Yeah.
Some of that, or it might have been earlier on. I forget when exactly that occurred. That was some of the roughest roughest stuff I've ever seen on cable television. Like that is really, really fucking intense shit.
It is,
and it's beautifully acted as well. But I was just like, I got to take a break for like 10 minutes or something.
It is really, it really is a rough show. It's like Oz in that way, I guess. It's just like fucking relentless every episode. You know, something bad is happening to somebody. But Kurt Sutter is a great storyteller. You know, he was the main dude on The Shield as well, and he really knows how to.
One of my
The Shield is Godhead. Yeah. He does a great job of like really weaving the plots are very intricate in Sons of Anarchy, like way more than I think it gets credit for. The way he keeps like spinning a whole lot of plates all at once. But really, like, you got to be kind of down with like motorcycle dudes beating the shit out of each other every episode,
and beating the shit out of other things or other people, just like innocent bystanders that just get destroyed, like just get obliterated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get where you're coming from.
What else was I gonna?
You're still watching Mad Men. You talked about that.
Yeah, I'm loving Mad Men. It's really frustrating to watch, but I love it.
Why is it frustrating?
It's frustrating because it's like first off, I mean, the time period in and of itself is just mind-boggling. Like, it's, you know, it's such a different fucking world, and sometimes even, and granted, I know it's Hollywood, so it's like exemplify, you know, it's glorified and really taken to the extreme, but it's just crazy, like how different of a world we lived in, and it doesn't even seem like it was that long ago. But the interaction between some of the characters is like so frustrating because you're like, if any of you fucking people learn to talk to one another like normal human beings do, like we wouldn't have half of this show. So there's that. I mean, it makes for good television, but sometimes I just want to be like, fucking talk to your wife, or, you know, like talk to your husband, you fucking dumbass. Like, so it's pretty funny.
That is kind of frustrating how they force a lot of the characters into stuff like that.
This show is like my wife and I watching it and then doing this, like looking at each other, just kind of like, is this really happening? Are they really doing that? Like the whole time. But
that's what it was like, right? I mean, that's everybody's repressed feelings and like not being able to talk about shit, you know?
Yeah, and that does seem real crazy to me.
Yeah. Actually, this reminded me, there's a great article in the New York Times this week. It's online, and then there's a response in Slate that this guy wrote this article. He based it on Mad Men about how adulthood is dead. There's a minor relationship to. No, I'm not going to use Gamergate. Forget that. Never mind. Strike that from the podcast. But his point is that, and he uses Mad Men as the jumping off point, that you take Don Draper as a 40-year-old man in the 60s, and you take 40-year-old men today, and the difference in how we behave and how we live and what we do. And he talked about, like, you know, guys in their 40s collecting action figures and sitting on the couch, you know. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, that's kind of us.
Right.
Anyway.
I do want to say, JP, that the 9th episode of Leftovers before the finale was fucking awesome. And then the end of the show was like pretty good. I got it. Man, I can't even tell. Like, I don't get the show. It just makes me feel like shit. But the 9th episode's amazing because
I'm gonna have to watch on like.
Can I just watch the 9th episode?
No, you can't. Because the reason why the 9th episode is amazing is because they like imagine you're watching
something actually happens.
You're watching 8 episodes through like a cloudy lens. And then in episode 9, they reveal information to you that suddenly, like, it's like, oh shit, I see everything now.
Okay.
And you're just like, oh my god, and it, So I'm excited to see that one.
Well, maybe I'll watch.
Is it? Well, I don't want to ask, but I think I'll just have to watch that show on a cheat day where I can like cope with just like just eat a ton of food and be like, oh, I'm so depressed. This show. It's so sad.
The show is The Leftovers on HP.
I'm gonna give it a shot. So my cultural thing is also TV, but I think I'm behind you guys because I assume you're probably already way on board. But I discovered it this week, and that is Arrow.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay. Oh yeah. I told you to watch it. Was it worth it? Let me know. I'm excited to hear.
Yes, I think it's great.
It is, right?
It's great, and
it's a CW show, but it's so good.
It's silly great, yeah.
It's silly great. What I really like, and I was surprised by it, is that it almost has like the Christopher Nolan kind of seriousness with Green Arrow. I mean, the music and everything. It has kind of an epic feel for a TV show, you know. And taking Oliver Queen seriously is like this guy had something fucked up happened to him, and he's gonna right wrongs now. I mean, it's not like a cartoon, like they're really treating the character like a human.
Yep.
And it's still kind of cartoony, right? I mean, but like
it's the right
in the
kind
good
of.
way,
It's like
right.
It's enough cartoony to pay homage to the comics, but also like be a real TV show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also got enough of that bullshit CW drama where you're like, oh my God, is Oliver gonna get with her? Oh shit, what's gonna happen?
It does. Right.
He deserves so and so.
Right. All the stuff with who's sleeping with who and all that is a little bit like, okay, I can do without that. But it does have a pretty good sense of humor about itself, I think, in general. There's some good dialogue. It can be pretty funny. All the stuff with him trying to dodge what's his face, the bodyguard guy.
Okay.
Is really funny. I'm early on. I'm only 4 episodes in. I got to watch him.
Oh, you got a long ride ahead of you.
I do.
Season 2 actually, season 1 is basically like the origin movie, right?
Yeah.
If you had to go relate it to movies, and then season 2, like all the fun shit starts occurring.
Okay, right. He's basically like assembling the teams.
And it gets pretty dark too. That's what
gets really dark.
Reinforces everything you said because it
cool.
stays serious and it gets pretty dark. Yeah, you're just kind of like.
Actually that caught me off guard as well. Is like there's one episode where something happens and you're like, holy fucking shit, I can't believe they just did that on a TV show on the CW.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely in. I mean, it's, it is what it is. This is not Breaking Bad or anything, but I'm actually surprised how good it is.
It's good.
And it makes you wonder if how like Gotham is going to perform because that's next week.
When does that start?
The 22nd
of September.
Yeah. Now it's a different network though, right?
It's
on Fox.
It's on Fox.
So they can't do cross stuff. That's too bad.
Nah, they.
Wait, who owns CW? Who is their parent?
Warner Brothers, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they going to do
CW
Arrow?
The Dancing Frog?
Oh.
But Flash is CW, isn't it? Or is it not? The Flash?
Yeah.
Upcoming?
Former majority owner of the WB television network. What? Are they?
I don't.
Owner the CW network. Oh, CBS.
Flash
50, Warner Brothers 50, Time Warner. Okay. Yeah.
I have a harder time imagining so people in chat are saying Flash and Arrow are going to cross over, so that's awesome.
Yes.
I was a big Flash fan when I was collecting superhero comics. I have a hard time seeing it as a TV show, but I've been proven wrong with Arrow now, so I'll definitely watch.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried with Gotham because of like the fact that all the villains are like kids, except for like the Penguin because he's obviously an older man in I guess the modern day Batman. But I don't know. Like I don't know if I care about Poison Ivy as like a fucking 9-year-old, right? Like
yeah.
Did they say that the Joker's going to be in this or no? Or they're probably keeping that close to the vest.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do in terms of like if the Joker's the one responsible for killing his parents or not, because I think that's in some of the comics, but I don't know if that's like what am I trying to say? Canon or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know what the true storyline is. I guess is what I'm going for. So
I think there's been multiple true storylines. I don't know.
Is this for real? They can't show smoking anymore on cable?
It might be.
Don't they show it on Mad Men?
It's they fucking smoke non-stop.
They smoke all the time
on Mad Men.
They might. I don't. They might not do it in the later seasons.
Network prime time.
Seems like they were been smoking on Mad Men all the way up till
the most
recent episodes.
It makes me sad too because I've been rereading Preacher and you guys I I don't think there's any fucking way they can turn that into a television show.
It's yeah. My brother read that when I was like 13 or 14, and I remember seeing a lot of stuff, and it was just like really foul.
I mean,
just like really grotesque and fucked up. And
having not read it in a couple years, and then they're like TV show. Of course, everything in my mind, I'm like, sure, yeah. But now actually reading it, like, I just refreshing myself on all of the fucked up shit that happens. Oh, it would be great, but like that's another thing, like the whole smoke anyway.
Yeah. By the way, being a little bit older than you guys by like a couple decades, I can tell you that my first job that I had out of college, someone says my blue blinking line is visible on my Skype window.
Oh. Well, God, these picky sons of bitches. Holy shit.
Shots fired at Wheat Production. Damn, son.
Oh, my God.
Get it together.
You guys should come over to roleplay. That shit don't happen.
Those 4 pixels. Oh, my Lord. It's like, I can't really focus on the show, you guys.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
My first job, which was at a publishing company back when people made books, and in fact, so I worked on these tech books, and when we cut and pasted text in galleys, we literally cut with X-Acto knives and pasted the text onto boards. That's where the term cut and paste came from. Anyway, that would be a whole separate story, but the story I do want to tell is that was in a day when people could still smoke cigarettes at their desk, like even in a cubicle. It's like it didn't matter. It was like I still remember, like, be like, ah, man, fucking Martha's smoking again.
So,
you know?
Jeff, my story is that I worked starting in 97 is when, actually no, 98, I started working like in IT towards Y2K. And our office was in the Wells Fargo, at the time it was the NBC building, and it was, you know, this downtown Lincoln, Nebraska building. We worked in the basement, and up until 3 years prior, you could still smoke on any floor in the in the building. And what they did is they decided, well, we're gonna remove that, but we're going to make the downstairs smoking, and then we'll add a couple lounges.
Right.
So I worked and of course I was a smoker at the time. I worked on tech support on the phones. So what did I do? I worked on tech support, and I sat there and I smoked cigarettes the whole time. Like, it was, and I couldn't, like, I was like, wait a second, you're telling me I get to smoke, like, on the job?
Oh, that's so bad.
It was so bad, you guys. So bad.
Yeah.
So terrible. Like, I couldn't even imagine if it was just like that all the time, or smoking on a plane or something like that. Just totally.
Right. And that was so bizarre too, because, like, you know, row 20 is no smoking, and then row 20 smoking. Is that made a fucking difference?
Yeah, what the fuck? That's kind of
all right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Anyway,
video games.
Last thing before we talk about video games, I think, and I don't. Maybe you'll agree, and Jeff, maybe you'll agree. Roger Sterling's, I think, my favorite TV character of all time.
Really?
I think he is like fucking amazing as a character, and as like
he is.
I haven't seen the actor do many things like outside of that realm, but he plays that role perfectly.
I agree.
I think he's great. I think
he's hilarious. Well, it helps that they give him all the big laugh lines too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he does get all the big. Yeah, his character's like groomed for that reason,
but he does deliver them well.
He does.
Actually, what I really love about him is that he. I identify just because he rocks the gray hair, so I feel like, okay, that guy's cool. Maybe I can try to be cool too still, because he's showing that you can be gray and not be, you know.
Yep.
So I'm looking up the actor, because he was just in something else recently that blew me away that was him when I realized.
Oh.
Or he was in something earlier. That's what it was. He actually is kind of one of those, that guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he in?
I'm looking now. Please continue with the podcast program.
Sure.
Gotcha.
We'll switch over to now playing. And,
I guess we could start off with Destiny. How much have you played, Wheat?
So I have now officially played approximately 2.5 hours. I probably could have progressed much further, but being the stubborn, hard-headed individual that I am, I insisted on playing through all the missions on hard.
Oh, yeah, you can't.
It was, I mean,
From
I
the
beat
start?
them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was, I like the first one where you like fight, I guess you fight the first elite that you see in the game if you play on hard. Like, I definitely got my ass kicked by that guy a couple times. And after that, I didn't have any problems, so...
Were you soloing, or did you have a fire team?
I was soloing at the time. Yeah. I was just like, I figured, well, I'll just at least hit level 5 before I jump in, like, someone else's game or know what the fuck is going on, so...
Right.
So, I mean, honestly, that's the tutorial. That was like 4 missions, and then I did one of the patrol things where you, like, go around the planet and you pick up additional missions where it's basically like... You know, get that blinking thing and kill the next wave of guys. But you know what I did experience, and so I'm still curious to hear about the extended experience because, you know, I did get good drops, and then I got drops that I had to go identify, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go back to the tower and get, oh, look at this stuff. Now I'm going to go back here and do these. So someone else in chat said that Destiny does do at least that good job of, like, wanting to keep you in the game. Like, are you sure you just dropped that? Like, but I don't know how long that lasts. You know, so...
Yeah.
I think it kind of lasts. I noticed people were on Twitter this morning were talking about the fact that, like, the reviews so far are coming out kind of middling, like 7s, some 8s, but that... most people are agreeing with those reviews, and yet everybody is still playing. And that's to some extent.
That's the number one thing. Yeah, like
yeah.
I'll go ahead and spoil the rest of the game for you. What you've played so far is what Destiny is.
So JP,
and that's all you do.
Like,
yes,
I think
you follow fucking Peter Dinklage across the universe as he fails to hack shit, and then you kill the things that he alarms.
Right.
And that's all the game is.
I kind of figured that already, and it's weird because it's one of the reasons why I'm probably more excited to play RimWorld after this show than I am Destiny. And it's not that I didn't fully enjoy it. I just don't. I mean, like, yeah, I will play more, obviously, but I feel like, you know, just going into that one area and already doing like 4 missions in the same area. Like, I can get a pretty good idea already, like, here, this is the game, like, this is the formula. So, I mean, beyond the loot, like, I'm really curious. Like, I'm okay that I went with the challenging approach, but, you know, you mentioned some of the stuff that they want to add, but, I mean, I want to hear for someone who's like, that is the game, like you've experienced sort of, what do you feel like this game needs? They've talked a lot about additional content, but if it's just another area that you're going to flog through in 4 different missions, is that enough to make you come?
I think in 6 months, Destiny will be what they should have released for the full game.
Oh.
If they keep coming out with content, like next week on Tuesday, they're releasing the first raid. Which you have to be level 26 to Q4, sorry, 26 to do. And they're also releasing a couple more story missions as far as I know. But like 17 to 20, and I did this all in one thing, so I'm probably I did this in like one sitting. I think it's maybe a little bit more, I guess, easier to see for me because I did all the missions in one sitting, right? So it's very repetitive to me.
Sure.
But like 17 to 20, you do maybe 3 new story missions. And for the most part, in terms of grinding XP, you are doing the strikes, right? So there's 4 strikes on the PS4, which includes the special like PS4 strike that's called Dust something or other. But once you hit 20, the entire end game is queuing these 4 dungeons over and over and over and over and over.
Tell me
and
what
over.
Like, is it just okay? Wave, boss. Wave,
That's,
boss.
Like, it's down to a science. Like, I know exactly where the mobs are going to spawn. I know what's going to spawn. I know how many warlocks are going to spawn. I know the best place to stand so that the mobs like funnel to you. it's all like very, very orchestrated and planned, and it's that over and over and over. And it's weird because like when you do it for the first 20 times, it's like, oh fuck yeah, I get to go shoot some guns in this like really good shooter. And then you hit like you hit that one moment where you're just like, I've been doing this for 3 hours now and it's been the same fucking thing. What am I doing? And then you just stop playing. Like that's what I hit. I eventually hit a wall. I got to 22. So what happens is you hit level 20 for the next P bar, and then items in these dungeons that you're queuing for start dropping a stat that is called plus light. And then at each increment of light that you have, your characters level up, right? So like for 21, I think it's 20 light. And I think 22 is 60 or maybe 40. I'm not sure. But I've watched, there's a streamer, or you probably know them, Streamer House or twitch.tv/Streamer House. They're streaming, it's like 5 or 6 guys that are doing a 100-hour plus marathon of Destiny. And I think they're only like level 25 right now or something like that. And they've been playing like non-fucking stop since Tuesday. And so the grind is like really, really, really hard.
And what's the max level?
30.
Oh, wow,
But I think you can't. So the dungeons go as high as level 26. And so I don't think they're going to drop gear that's higher than that. So then at 26, I think the raid gear comes into effect. And I think that's how you do 26 to 30. But it's like, imagine if you were playing World of Warcraft, Wheat. Actually, you can't because you've never played World of Warcraft. Imagine you're playing a game, right, and you're queuing the same thing over and over, 3 different things. You can't talk to anyone. You kind of can, but the default or the thing that the PlayStation ships with the headset is actually fucking terrible. Like it just sounds god awful. So like communication's very, very low. You're fighting the same enemies and the same levels for like 10 plus hours a day. And that's like Destiny endgame if you want to play it a lot. But it's fun until you get tired of it, right? Like that's the weird thing, is that a lot of the reviews are middling, and I think I agree with the majority of them. But I think those reviews in 6 months are going to change because they're actually going to have things to do.
Interesting. So
I agree.
Can I mean, I feel like I've still am holding on to sort of the newness of it all. That I obviously like. You're not going to deter me too much from playing, but I do want to ask a little bit about the weapons. Like how much variety and how often are you finding things where you're considering going like, okay, should I switch this up? Or, because of the way you can change weapons, do you just sort of find your top 3 or so weapons and then you're just constantly shifting between them? Or like, how is that experience? Because I would imagine that would be one of the important things for keeping me going in a game like this.
I've switched out my weapons a lot, I do think that's a lot of the fun of it. And the weapons themselves get new abilities and or modify your abilities.
They level up with you, yeah.
Yeah, they level up with you. So there is a lot of good gun porn in the game.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten like a couple where it's like, hey, you reload faster, and then I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you as you use the weapon, you sort of unlock those abilities. I thought that was
and those weapons start. So like, I think for the most part, most of the weapons have like 3 things that you can level up. Once you hit 20, a lot of the blue items that I'm getting now have like 6 things, and some of those have like 3 different options in terms of like a scope, or in terms of what the bullets do if they pass through an enemy, or if they ricochet off the wall behind them or something like that. And a lot of the I think they're called elite weapons, the like yellow weapons, have like real special abilities where like randomly the mob might just spontaneously combust if you hit them properly, or if the bullet has the RNG of it, right? So they have like really cool effects like that. I've only seen 2 or 3 of them. And I think on weekends, I think it actually went live last night. They actually have special vendors come into the tower where you can use currency that you've gotten from quests throughout the game that just didn't have any use. So those things are only there on the weekends. And I guess that's to like
get more people playing.
To get more people on in the weekends, yeah.
Sure.
One thing that I think a lot of people aren't talking about or I haven't seen people talk too much about, is in terms of like, it's not an MMO, but in terms of like an online game, there was no fucking issues whatsoever.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
You played
well,
it.
There was
played it.
There was the one group of university students. So you hear about that? There was like some weird animal error, and it was like it had something to do with people on universities. But other than that, I did not hear anything else.
Yeah, like I played the digital version at 2 a.m. and I never got disconnected. I never lagged out for the next 20 hours. Like.
Yeah, incredible.
It was a flawless release. And it's probably because Bungie fucking knew that their game was going to be massive and they prepared for it, right? Like, I'm hoping that the age of games having like shitty releases like that is over, because I thought that was going to be a massive clusterfuck.
It's not over.
I got the impression from the bit that I've played that, you know, they handled the whole concept of lobbies and the little world and patrol areas that you visit like pretty smart. Yeah. Right, because you're pretty much in your own instance at a lot of times, or you're with or with friends. So, I mean, I think as long as they avoided like, okay, guys, how are we going to get 50,000 people into this one thing, and that really that really helped out. But
yeah, I would say the downside of that is that the instances, at least right now, feel the population feels too small. Like, you go to the tower and you see a whole ton of people around, and it's only in the tower that you really feel like you're playing with a lot of people. Other times you're just like, I mean, I've played whole sessions of Destiny where I don't see anyone, or maybe like two guys, and we're all just roaming around the same area, waiting for stuff to respawn. It's just weird that way. That I mean, I'm sure there's like great reasons why they limited the population, but it's a weird feeling to play a game that you thought was going to be kind of MMO-like and to have it feel so barren.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you can't even talk to anybody.
That's the weirdest part, man.
In the fire team.
That is weird, you guys.
And I don't know how you solve that on a console, right? Because there's not really a console where you're like, hey guys, what's going on? Click, 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 like type into someone.
Phantasy Star Online had that rudimentary chat. Right, where you could select words or whatever, or phrases, or even fucking emoticons, to have some rudimentary communication. What I also wish was that there was all this stuff is stuff they could add, by the way. So to back up one sec on that, like, I mostly agree with what everybody's saying, but I also think that, and JP, you said this a little bit before too, that like, the game is going to evolve, and I believe it's actually going to get a lot better. And I think that there was no way around this, right? I think this was inevitably going to happen. People have to review the game, right? The game reviews have to come out. They're under no obligation.
They waited till the end of the week. Like, a lot of reviews didn't go up till yesterday.
Right, and they didn't have to even wait that long. But I think the truth is, like, we really haven't seen everything that's going to make this game great yet. I think it's going to get a lot better, and maybe that's partly why some of us keep playing. Like, we sort of are either hoping or knowing, or there's an intuitive thing that, like, well, the foundation here is really rock solid, right? I mean, the combat's fun, the interface is fucking beautiful. It's like
the game's gorgeous.
It looks great, and even just how everything works, all the controls are great. So the foundation, it's like they released an awesome scaffolding for a game. The building isn't quite built yet, but if I was investing in this building, I would say, okay, that these carpenters and architects are off to a great start, so I'm gonna invest, because when this building is fully built, I'm gonna want to live here. Yep. So it's sort of like that. I lost my own point though. I was
about the going in and expecting an MMO, but I mean that was like, I think, your overall point, but it not necessarily being.
Yeah, and that I forget. So what happens when you get old? It'll come back to me. It
happens all the time, man.
And this is what they're doing. I got this email I think 2 days ago. So on September 12th through the 14th, they're having an event called Salvage, which is a Crucible weekend playlist. And you can earn Crucible gear, Crucible marks, and Crucible reputation. Then on the 16th, the Vault of Glass, the level 26 raid comes out. Then in September, there's something called Combined Arms. And then in later September, there's something called Queen's Wrath. And then in October, there's the Iron Banner. So, like, they have stuff planned down the line.
You guys, can I ask a question? Because maybe I DLC wrong.
Sure.
I find it so difficult to complete something or sort of wrap up my gaming experience only to then try to get excited to come back in for something. Am I like, this is, for example, like I think about the Devil May Cry, right? Like I even played that after the fact. Loved it. Everyone's like, oh, you just play the DLC, but I was just kind of like, oh, I'm done.
I never played the DLC. And I think that's actually something that is only true to console games. Because like when something comes out for the PC that's new, you're like, oh, fuck yeah, I want to play the shit out of that. Because that game was like, think of like Diablo 3 is perfect example. This patch came out
that's
3 weeks ago, and now it's like a big game again because people are really enjoying it.
Right, and that's what I think could happen here with Destiny is that, and I think what's crucial for them to do is like what they're doing next week, but they got to stay on it. They got to. They can't wait for a big DLC release. They have to just keep pumping new content into this game, and if they do that, I think we all want to like it. You know, I think part of the reason people are a little bummed this week is because it's like you said at the beginning of the podcast, JP, like we wanted the next big thing to happen. And I think there's some feeling like this could still be it if they stay on this, you know, and and that was part of my point earlier that I had forgotten, which is that they can, even stuff like communication, they can change it, they can make it so it would be easier for us to talk to one another. So I want this to be better than it is.
And JP, you did this, you did like the whole thing pretty much with your brother.
Yes, I played co-op the entire time, and I think that is the way to play that game. If you're playing alone, you're fucking up because like it's so much fun. There was like the first time we did one of the strikes, like the summoning pits. For those that have played it and can relate to it, it's called the summoning pits. And towards the end, there's like this giant guy in the center of the map, or center of the area that you're in. And he's like chained into the ground, and eventually he breaks free, and you have to kill him. One of my complaints about the game is a lot of the mobs are bullet spongy, where it's just like you have to unload like
the elite guys for sure.
Yeah, the elite guys. You have to unload like 2,000 bullets into them before they finally die, and they don't change mechanically. It's just the same thing over and over and over. But at the same time, like when we did that, we had that MMO feel of just like killing a boss for the first time in like a raid or in a group or something, right? Like it was like that, fuck yeah, we just did that moment. It was awesome.
Yeah.
What sucks is you do that for the 20th time, literally the 20th time, you're just like, all right, let's see what gear I just I gambled on here and see if I get anything good.
I do, from what I've heard about the raid encounters too, that they're going to be more like WoW raid bosses, in that they're going to be very complex.
And I hope they are.
I feel like that's what it needs, right?
And that, if that's true, that's actually like that will get me back in the game next week. That'll be really fucking cool if they have like encounters to them, and it's not just okay, let's just circle strafe around this guy because he's going to fire 5 bullets and then reload, and that's all you have to do. It's just constant circle strafe.
Right, and I also hope that they add, and this goes back to what you said at the beginning, is that when they add new content in the main areas like Earth and Moon or whatever, that those new quests and missions or whatever are different. That they give us other things to do besides waiting for Peter Dinklage to hack into a computer. And they can, again, that's something they can do, you would think, right? They could come up with different mission structures, different goals. I want it to be great.
I just want it to be like, I want more than anything. Every time I would hear something like, okay, well, all the big guilds are going after the new raid, you know, like they're trying to get first, like, you know, they're figuring out, they're grinding it out. And I look back on that and I'm like, that is fucking awesome that a game is offering like such a challenge that these guys have to like coordinate their attacks and you know, the counterattacks and rezzing and all that shit. And I just think a game like this would have so much potential with like that.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know how necessarily you do that with gunplay. It's kind of like Borderlands a little bit.
And hey, maybe Destiny figures that out and it becomes like a big fucking shift in FPSs on console, right? Like, I don't know what they're gonna do in the raid stuff, but if it's cool,
if it's the raid gets released and then 2 hours later, like, oh, you know, the first groups beat it, and here you go, then I think that sucks.
And I don't think that's gonna happen.
No,
I mean,
you think it'll be more like? I
think it's gonna. I hope. I mean, maybe I'm just. You know, I'm not really a Bungie fanboy. I'm not. I wasn't even that into all of Halo. I was more of a Marathon and Myth fan from their older days. But I do think, you know, they're smart. They're smart people.
Oh yeah.
And you know, their track record is pretty fucking good. I mean, let's face it. So, you know, I have faith that they're gonna. I don't think that they're unaware of all the stuff that we and other people are saying. I think that there's probably frustration over there, I'm guessing. Like, but we haven't really shown you everything yet. Don't hate us yet.
Or, I mean, there's probably just wait. Like, I think that might be the attitude. I hope that's the attitude because they're confident in what they're releasing, right? I hope it's not like they're scrambling like, oh, fuck, the numbers are dropping from concurrent people playing it on it. Like, right now, there's 50,000 less people than 2 seconds ago, right?
Right. So, I mean, well, look, the bottom line is they made a shit ton of money. There are a ton of people all over the place who don't hang out on Twitch, who don't go to NeoGAF, who aren't on Twitter, who just know that this is Bungie's next game, and they're just going to fucking buy it. Yeah. And they're probably going to have a great time. I mean, they may hit some of the same complaints that we have, but, you know, we are a special group here.
We are. You know,
it's like everybody buys Madden every year.
Yep.
They're just going to buy it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I don't think that Activision or Bungie's worried about sales. But
you know, the one thing you said, it is a Bungie game, and that's actually a complaint of mine, because if you look at the game and the enemies in the game, it's actually just Halo.
Yeah.
Because you start off and you're fighting the Covenant. You're fighting the Covenant that come in on these big ships and people drop down to the ground. They look like the Covenant. They even sound a little bit like the Covenant. And then you fight these new people called the Vex. And the Vex are basically the Flood, but they're mechanical. And they have a shit ton of things, and you're fighting like a huge mob of people. And then you fight the Cabal. And the Cabal are basically brutes. Like, through and through, they're giant fucking guys. They even have a gun that is like the Brute launcher from Halo 3 or whatever, or Halo 2 maybe. Like, all of the enemies are exactly like Halo enemies. And I was like, this is really, really, really weird to be fighting the same like type of people. But at the same time, like, it's still fun. Like, that's totally something.
Right. I agree with you. Even the little things that they say, their little voices sound like all the Halo Halo mobs. It is weird.
Yeah, and even the way that like they tried really, 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 really hard for Peter Dinklage's lines to be on the level of Cortana, but I don't know if it was just how they were written or if it was the fact that I knew it was Peter Dinklage, and every time he would say it, I'd just be like, "Shut the fuck up, Peter!" Like, God damn it, you piece of shit.
I don't think it's his fault. You know?
No, it was. I don't think it was at all, but. I didn't even call him what his name, Ghost, or I don't even know what his name is in game.
I think it's Ghost.
Yeah. Every time he spoke, it was just like, "Shut up, Dinklage! Like, hurry up and hack this thing! Like, just finish, just get done with it." So,
yeah, that certainly doesn't help. Nor does the fact that the story doesn't really make any sense, if there even is one.
Oh yeah, the story's really weird.
And the fact that I'm not saying anything is in all the reviews, but the one along with the story being just kind of like is the fact that all the lore, you have to go to either the fucking companion app or Bungie.net, and they even tell you to when you get a Grimoire card, right?
Yeah,
like for more
really weird.
Read over here. It's like, have we not had codexes in games for like 15 years? Like, I was trying to think last night, why did they do that? And part of it is like, well, maybe they just wanted to leave the game clean. They just wanted it to be, you know, focused on the shooting and all that, and not clutter up your interface with like lore about monsters and backstory and what that building is and what happened to Russia and why we're on Mars.
Right.
But having none of it in the game and making you go to a website
to read about it is real
like,
weird.
What year are we in?
Yeah.
Like, that's like, why? It just boggles my mind that they wanted to do that. They thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, that makes no sense, especially after something like Titanfall that was criticized for, like, you know, kind of just neutering the lore by making it through multiplayer type things, you know, like there was nothing there too. So
yeah. And given that, you know, it might not matter as much if it hadn't, and you know, maybe some of it has to do with marketing hype and stuff like that, but that we were sort of expecting this to be like an epic story. We were expecting this huge sci-fi, you know, universe to get lost in, and then you're wandering around Earth and Mars or whatever going like, what's the fucking story here? There's like no lore. There's a bunch of empty buildings.
Loomy says $40 for trade-in value at GameStop, 40.50 at Best Buy. Trade it in while you can.
Oh God, I'm not. I bought it online, so I can't even. I'm not going to.
I spent the full $60 on it,
Same
and
here,
you know what? I don't regret it.
I don't either, man. Hey, like, the 14 hours that I took to get to 20, they were fun as shit. Like, I had a great time doing that, playing with my brother, and like, I like you said, I don't give a fuck about the story. I don't care about like really anything in the game except for the fact that I'm having fun shooting a ton of motherfuckers with some cool items, and I'm getting like the carrot on the stick effect where I'm getting cooler items as I progress forward. Right,
exactly. So like, I wouldn't want it, and you know, to be mistaken that I was like bagging on the game because it's weird because I like the game, but it's just frustrating. You just want it to do so much more, and I'm just hoping that it will, you know.
Yeah.
And it could.
And that's the thing. Like, we'll see a month from now or 2 months from now, like what they've actually released for the game. And I think this raid next week will, like, I hope that they're not planning that it's going to take people 2 months or a month to complete that. And that's what they're hoping for, because people are going to complete that, I think, within 2 weeks and that might even be a little bit too much. Like, I think there's going to be groups out there that are able to do it very, very, very quickly.
Well, we do know from the experience of WoW and every other MMO that no matter how long the developers or anyone thinks something's going to take, some fools are going to beat it. Like
some guys are just going to destroy it right off the bat. Yeah.
Right. But they're probably the outliers. Like most people, you know.
The hope is that it's enjoyable enough for like the quote unquote hardcore, but it's also enjoyable so that anyone can get in and do it and have an okay enough time. To where they don't just get obliterated because the mobs are giant bullet sponges, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And that's I hope it's not just, okay, guys, here's why this is going to be fucking impossible. Because the thing has 7 million hit points and it's going to take you 5 hours to do it.
Right. Well, that would be awful. I mean, that would probably be a nail in the coffin, frankly, you know. But if it turns out to be awesome with a lot of dynamics and shit you have to figure out, that'd be super fun.
Yeah.
So here's hoping. Here's hoping we'll be able to look back and say, like, boy, remember when we thought Destiny sucked?
Yeah. I mean, obviously they have a lot more in store for this game beyond the release. So I'm glad it's out. I look forward to playing it a little bit more. I expect to experience a lot of the things that, you know, you guys have both stated here, because I already kind of have. But good luck to them.
I guess final thing I'll say is Destiny is a really, really weird game. That's all I'm going to say. It's good, but there's also some shitty stuff with it right now. And it's so hard to recommend to people because it's like, well, are you going to like sit there and hammer out 15 hours of it in a day? Because you can, but you're going to get it's going to get very repetitive very quickly. Are you going to play with a bunch of friends? It'll be fun.
And it's hard to play with a bunch of friends too, at least now.
Yeah.
But I will say that Friday night I played and I didn't have any agenda. I decided not to do the mission, so I was just hanging out in that patrol area, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a great time. I really did. So like just like running around and shooting shit and getting back on the Sparrow and finding another area and shooting shit is fun. So they've got a good core mechanic.
Yeah.
Anyway, have we beaten this to death?
I think we have. Why don't we take our break?
We covered it,
yeah, we'll take our break, and then, of course, when we come back, we'll talk about some of the other things. We want to hear what JP thinks after going up to level 30 in Arcade, and then anything else that we've played. So, guys, we'll be back with more 8-Bits in our second hour after this. Don't go away.